I got you.
All right. All right, everybody. This is Darrell Miller with the realest interviews. I am with a special guest, my brother Davonnie Menendez. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing good, man. I'm chilling, hanging in there, man.
And it's a blessing. I know it's been a while. We talked and hanged out, but it's an honor for you to be on my newest episode. And this is the moment we get to know about you and your career and what you got going on and things like that. So tell the people who you are, how long you been, a hip hop artist and other things like that.
Yeah, so y'all, if y'all don't know, Davonnie Menendez is the name. My my artist name Controversy. I have been a rap artist, I would say at least rapping wise since 2011. I would also say that I have facilitated a brand called YMDR. I have been doing that since 2013. So that's pretty much what I do pretty much. And YMDR is a multi-talented space. It's like a space where, I create a lot of different stuff, but it's all under the control of the independent artist. So like everything that I create is also coming from me, but it's also can come from independent artists across the spectrum. So like, that's what we ultimately are making. Some of our new things that we trying to get done or coming out that we're working on is the podcast. We got the podcast. We got one podcast episode already kind of locked in there, and then we got another one that I just now have on my computer right here. And yeah, we going about it. We've been doing it since 2013, but we're still continuing on. I'm still continuing on in 2023 because I just been getting some things for it, and yeah, we just been putting in the work, man. So yeah.
Oh, okay. What does YMDR stand for, and what gave you the idea to create this business? This
Yeah, so YMDR has three different meanings. So it means Yo Music Dedicated Records, and that is like the entertainment spectrum. So the entertainment spectrum is filled with like all the entertainment that I've usually made. It is all under like faith, creativity, independent media. And that's just what ultimately one part of YMDR is. We just make all entertainment under that. And then the second one is Yahweh makes demons run merchandise, and that's like the clothing brand. So like that's what you see on me right here with the music note hat and the other stuff. That's just a clothing brand way to express it from a kind of like a God and life perspective. So like I try to make a lot of art that actually can reflect that. I don't just make it what is it regularly. I make it like digitally, and then I also make it physically. But
okay.
yeah, in that spectrum, that's what it's called. And then our last one is Yo Movement Dedicated Rebels, and that means that's more like for empowerment. So I just try to make things that are ultimately empowering to be helpful to other people. And there's a lot of different that's just ultimately how those spectrums go. It's like entertainment, biblical empowerment. So yeah.
Okay. So who influenced you to create your company? Anybody you have in mind, or many people that helped you along the way to create your company?
Yeah, so I would say what influenced me to create it was actually from these. So I used to go to this church. I still go to the church, but not as much at the moment. But we used to have we had a group meeting one time, and they were making certain things they wanted to do to impact, the people that they were around and stuff like that. It was probably just a bunch of church people that ultimately were trying to find things that they could utilize to kind of what does it facilitate, that type just something that was for the church world. And for me, I didn't want to create something like that, like a non for profit. I wanted to create something kind of out spectrumed so that it could
Mhm.
be used to kind of join some people together that weren't from the church world. So YMDR was kind of influenced, kind of like roughly when I was like in the church world, around it and stuff like that. And I think the first person that probably knew about it was probably like Sarah Daniels, which was a person that I went to church with. She made a ministry called Unconditional Ministries that she probably still does to this day and age. And it's yeah, they were basically just women who basically would go into the strip clubs and basically give women they would give these women bags and just things
Mhm.
to kind of help them in that regard,
Right. Right.
whether it was other different things or other stuff. So yeah, that was what they ultimately did, or that she was choosing to do with her ministry. And I had just popped in and said, well, I was wanting to make YMDR, and I got the inspiration kind of from that, but it was more like I didn't want to be like a non for profit. I wanted to be like work out here like in the streets with other artists and just create something that was more like a spectrum of just artists being able to come together and create things, whether they be Christian or not, so yeah.
Okay. So as far as like building your company and stuff, what you think was the most difficult thing when creating your company, or like obstacles for you to, achieve some of your goals?
Yeah, so I would say, I guess the obstacles, like, so the main obstacle was a little bit from when I used to live kind of like with my mother. That was one
Mhm.
of the obstacles that was there. I would say that obstacle was a little bit of hard because I wasn't able to really create at my full capacity. And so that's why I was a little stagnant in how I was creating YMDR, and I wasn't capable of being able to really like pressure it in and actually make it what I wanted it to be. So once I kind of, was able to, build on, my brand still, even though I was living with her, because that's the thing, I didn't just give up on it. I said, nah, I'm gonna keep at it, even though I'm living in pretty much turmoil, but
Right.
I pretty much just kept doing that. And then, you know what transpired, I think, between that was that I just was able to build it. Once I got my own place, I was able to build it. But I think what kind of led to it more or less, like there wasn't too much as this. That was one of the struggles, but then there was one of the things where I think once I got out of it, I was just dealing with some things from a work job that I used to work, where they were more like they were it was a job that was firing me because I was getting to work late. And I only was getting to work late because I was ultimately didn't have a car and I was saving to get one.
Right.
So, they had let me go at a time frame where dang, like I was saving up to get a car, and then boom.
Yeah.
And they were more like a Christian organization. So they wanted to
Right.
kind of put themselves out there to kind of make it seem like they wanted to help people reach their goals, and it just
Right.
seemed like they kind of lied about it. And
Right.
in the midst of it, like I just had to say, well, what if I just made my brand as like something that I do as my main thing,
Hmm.
while I go get another job. And
Right.
I just talked to my uncle about it. My uncle sent me some information. He gave me a whole bunch of stuff to understand about it, and I just eventually in 2022, that's how I kind of started it and escalated it. I mean, I didn't have a lot of money to kind of transpire together, so that was a little bit of the obstacles. But because I was a good saver, and because I think I was very transparent on just being able to plan when I
Right.
was not even a business all the way, was
Right.
why I was able to like have it all come together in full circle, is because I didn't just take a loan out. I just
Yeah.
said, well, I'm going to build it while I'm still not a business entirely.
Right.
And when I did that, it just transpired and kind of came together because I found out how to use my taxes to get certain equipment. This mic right
Mhm.
here from taxes.
Yeah.
Feel
That's
me? So yeah, I found ways. So yeah, man. Yeah, that's ultimately, yeah.
so what positive thing you could tell me, or something successful that happened that made you like, this is the right thing for me to do, I'm on the right path? What, any event, any thing you could think of that you be like, yes, this is for me to do?
Yeah, I would say just the simple fact that when I was doing this for a while, like it just gave me a sense of like peace. You know what I'm saying? Like it gave me a sense of peace, gave me a sense of, realism and reality. It just gave me a sense of being able to really tap into my true person. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
I think that's what that was the positive outlook that came from it, is that it was able to really helped me just tap into, what I wanted to be as a person and how I wanted to be and what I was trying to become. So I mean, like, that's ultimately how it transpired and was put together. So that's one of the ways that it just became really positive. So yeah.
Okay. So, and I know you said you was a rapper. When was the first time you would start writing, and also your first performance?
Yeah, so I think the first time I was writing, I had to be writing more or less in 2013. And so, because 2011, I was kind of rapping, but that was not like, I wasn't like writing it down. It wasn't on paper. I think the only thing that somebody had was a video of me rapping at it was at my church kind of gathering that we had or something like that. So I more or less was just rapping, and then they were playing the drums and stuff, so that was morely what they did. That was kind of like my first idea of it. And then when I started to kind of tap into YMDR in 2013, it was more like I was into the rapping stage of it. So I just, in that stage, I mean, it was very roughly patterned, because I did try to ask certain church people, certain church friends, if they wanted to be involved with it, because it was kind of connected to, the church in the way for, that idea. But it's just, wasn't a lot of them really into that idea. So I had to
Mm-hmm.
kind of correspond what I was going to do. So I just said, well, I'm going to do some rap that I just was able to do. So I was writing it down at that time, and just, yeah, just putting it all together. So yeah, man.
Okay. What about your first performance? Do you remember your first performance and how that
My
went?
I think my first performance, if I'm being honest, I remember that I think of the first performance that we ever put on that was somewhere kind of at it had to be at my church, because if I do remember, I think they did say something to the effect that I had went, this was, I think, when I was in high school too. So I was doing a little rapping when I was kind of like high school years, and they had said that they were having a kind of like a rap concert or something, like an open
Mm-hmm.
mic sort of thing. And so I just showed up to the open mic thing and just was like, yeah, like I'll do that. And so I think that was my first kind of like interaction with just performing.
Okay.
I wasn't all the way like, I was kind of like able to kind of tap into the rapping thing where I was like writing it down. But I think, yeah, like, my church kind of just introduced me to an opportunity at that time. Wasn't really it wasn't like a first class opportunity. It was just an opportunity that was given. So that was one of the performances I think I did, which was kind of like at a church gathering
Mhm.
sort of thing. So
So, do you remember your first song and where did you record it at?
I think my first song that I probably remember that I recorded at that time, I was called D Mog Tell 'em. So I was more like, which was called which that meant Davonnie Menendez on God Tell 'em. You feel me?
Okay.
So that was pretty much why I was. Yeah, that's pretty much what I was
Yeah.
called in that. So, but yeah, I think the first song, if I'm not mistaken, I think at that time the first song was more like it was, I can't remember exactly, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, it had to be like a beat that I made now into it goes to a cartoon theme song.
Mm.
Because it used to be it used to be like a song that was called Jesus Boy Swag. And
Mm.
so, that was kind of just like a first beginning sort of thing. So, like, I think that was kind of like the first song. But if I look back in kind of like, I guess, the spectrums of like my D Mog Tell 'em songs, I think those were more like I can't remember a lot of the names of them, but I do remember one that I think was called Lights On, Lights
Mhm.
Off. But that one wasn't a. I wasn't. I don't think I was called Demog Tell 'em either because I went through like so many different names at that time. So
Right.
yeah, I didn't.
Right.
Yeah. So
Man,
yeah.
that's good. Like can you tell the people like who's not an artist the difficulty of like either coming up with a song or coming up with an album? Was there any part that was like frustrating when you like coming out, working on a song, finding a beat, finding like if you're going to do an album, EP, mixtape, or something? Can you tell the people like difficulties of being a rapper or creating a project or a single?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, the difficulties that kind of came with it, like ultimately, wasn't always the idea, I guess, of the normal things. Like it wasn't like, when you're in the midst of like doing your music and you're rapping, like I don't think those difficulties really transpired. But I guess for me, when the way that it was difficult was when I was in a bad circumstance while trying to write. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I think that that was more of what was more of a hard kind of idea in that reality because that was why I just made like a poetic tape that was called like Sweet Dreams because it was just like it was a poetic tape because I was not really in a coherent space of reality to be able to um rap about what I needed to. So I just used it in a poetic form, and so a lot of that was one of the, I would say that's a little bit of how the difficulties went. And then I think with the project back then, at least when I was writing, the difficulties in that was just transpiring how to do it and also kind of representing what it was. So that project was just with Retaliation. That was what that project was called. And it was more like I was talking about just my circumstances while also being an artist. And so it was pretty raw. It was not like this like concept of something that was more like a uh soft toned or whatever. It was pretty raw because there were moments where I had to kind of speak on things that had to do with my mother and how she was drinking, how she was verbally abusive. So I think at least in that time frame, that was how the difficulties pitched in. As to now, when I write actually for an album, which is the album that I'm working on now is like God and Life. That is a new conglomerate. I'm not really like I'm writing to those songs and I have written to those songs, and they're not like this bundle of confusion. I feel like there's more this idea that I really know I'm trying to like tune in with people. So I feel like overall with this one, there isn't really all of an impasse on there where I'm like, having some issues with it. But we all kind of evolve in our styles and stuff like that. We evolve in our styles of how we want to say it or whatever and whatnot. So I think it's just a studying thing. You just got to kind of look at what you see from the people, and you don't have to really um take what you see from them, but you can learn to kind of make your tones of what you want your rap to communicate deeper. So yeah.
That's dope, man. I'm proud of what you've been doing and stuff like that. I know you for quite a while, and I've seen you perform outside, like at Emerson Theater in Indianapolis, Indiana, and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and how unscared you was and you just grinding and doing your things, giving out the message. I want to applaud you for that because not a lot of people had the courage to do that. How different, you being a Christian rapper and stuff. Not a lot of people give Christian rappers or clean music artists the respect we deserve for making clean art,
Mhm.
like the other artists does. But for you to
Yeah.
keep grinding and doing your thing, I really applaud that and stuff like that. What was or where was some of the your favorite places to perform at? And are you thinking about going on tour? Because I know you're working on your new project. Are you thinking about traveling outside of Indy or going to other places to perform? Like, what's your idea?
Yeah, so when I really think about, the God and life
Mhm.
concept, I'm more like with that album, I am thinking about kind of like touring to some extent. Um,
Yeah.
reason I'm not fully in a capacity to be able to fully tour is because of the simple
Yeah.
fact that, for one, I don't know what my fan base is at the moment. Because, like you
Okay.
said, like, side note, you from what you said, you was like, how not a lot of clean artists get their recommendation. Like, that's why in this kind of spectrum, it's hard to really know how to get your like audience and that idea, especially if you're like, at that time I was like a Christian rapper, like in those
Right.
contrasts. But I think now that I have like, since YMDRs came on,
Yeah.
I'm more like a God and life rapper, so I could talk about
Okay.
both. I could talk about
Yeah.
God and life, so
Yeah.
that's what it evolved into. But yeah, I'm definitely going to try to do something in the midst of it. And I have gotten some little, some things for equipment wise to be able to kind of see if I can put on more of a show somewhere else or something like that. But I'm just kind of planning to kind of see how it's all going to work out, because I know that I don't want to just tell somebody this is what I'm going to do and then I'm not able to
Yeah.
really do it. And
Right.
two, I only had two. I mean, I have to make sure too that I guess there's TikTok people who rock with me too. Like, I'm building a
Right.
somewhat of a audience there, but it's
Okay.
not like a strong audience. But it's in the middle.
Yeah.
It's still in the
Right.
middle because we at least at 2,000. You feel me? We at
Oh,
least
that's
at
a
2,000
blessing.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
So yeah.
man,
Yeah.
that's good, man. Keep doing that shit. I'm not even at 2,000. I'm like 200 some on TikTok. I'm still trying to get used to TikToks. For you to be at 2,000, man, that's
Yeah.
hard work, man. Keep grinding, keep doing your thing, man. Like for real.
Yeah.
And it's good to get outside. Sometimes we can't always depend on social media when we doing, marketing our products and stuff. Sometimes if you're
Yeah.
not, social media savvy or know how to use social media for your advantage, sometimes you
Yeah.
could get lost in the sauce while everybody else posting and they work. So I always
Yeah.
think to me is the best way is face to face, like get in front of people,
Yeah.
go to, whatever churches, go to hotels, go to clean environments, figure out different type of audience to figure out who you are. Since you still searching who your audience is, it's good to try different areas to see who really mess with you, who really mess with your work, and to learn. And it's a good
Yeah.
learning curve to be like, what can I do better? Is it my mixing, mastering?
Mhm.
Is it the beat? It's not
Mhm.
go right with my vocals. Like we gotta be even me as an artist, like we gotta be true to ourselves to say what is not meshing right, that
Yeah.
people are not gravitating to it, besides like the content. But
Yeah.
a certain beat that people is feeling or not feeling, is it the mixing? Because those are key factors was can make a hit record or get people to vibe. Because the first thing they listen to is the beat, and then they
Yeah.
listen to the lyrics. So sometimes as an artist, we gotta be doing more of our research as a whole and picking out from the audience standpoint what they vibe with. Sure, you're not gonna make everybody happy,
For
but
sure. For sure.
you do want to study to see, okay, what is it, me, or just I'm not in the right crowd. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like what's
For
going
sure.
on here and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But definitely keep doing what you're doing. You got anything else besides music you're working on company
Um.
wise or future things you want to do?
Yeah, man. So company wise, I mean, we obviously made an update video on, the YMDR page. If y'all tapping in, y'all tapping in. It's on like the YMDR Yo Music Dedicated Records page. But we did an update where we just said, how we're going into the new year, and we are just marking off our list to kind of get some things kind of up and going. So a lot of new things that are on there are probably just some of the graphics that you'll see that's coming out, some of the artwork and stuff. got a bunch of new, just different art designs that'll be like, the ones I put on shirts, but then I'm looking at, what type of style people might want them in a sense if they don't have them in this kind of spectrum idea. So yeah, I'm just looking a little bit more into that kind of, but going into the new year, we're still kind of, putting in either if it's music wise or cartoon animation stuff wise, we're still looking into those things as well because I know that ultimately I had bought some cartoon animation software a little bit of last year between there, like somewhere between there. But yeah, Moho Animate, that's the software we got. We've been using. We're about to try to see how to, work and utilize that pretty soon, so I can try to see how to animate some cartoon animation. And the way this software really works is pretty freaking dope because you can use the voiceover of the art. Like you can basically like animate the whole thing, like put it all together. Then
Hmm.
you can also take your voice if you want to use your voice in it, like to voice over the cartoon's voice. You can make like a
Yeah.
literal you can make like a literal episode out of that. So like that's
What?
why
That's
the yeah, like a literal episode. It's like I'm not kidding. Like you could literally do your voice on that software and then just make a whole like episode out of it simply because of the fact. Now, rendering wise, I don't know. It just
yeah.
depends on the soft. It just depends on if you got like a what is it,
Hard
a
drive.
your hard
Eternal.
drive or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, eternal hard drive. But yeah, ultimately, like I think if you got that hooked up in the midst of it, I think you should be able to get it done pretty well. But you just gotta, I'm just having to learn the software pretty well. So that's what I'm doing right now as we speak. So yeah, man, that's a little
Man.
bit of what we got going on. So yeah,
That's dope, man. Congrats on that. I know you've been, drawing, been talking about you want to do animations and stuff like that for a while. And if you need a voice actor, I definitely would love to be one of your characters or anything.
most
So
definitely.
definitely hit me up when you're ready for that. And you got to tell the people, like, you was part of some of my projects, like Paragenix that won 5 awards. Like,
Yeah,
you an
man.
actor as well. So, like,
Yeah,
how
man.
was your experience? How was your experience on that? Like, how did you feel working with me and filming and things like that? You know.
Yeah, man, I would say, yeah. I mean, in that whole experience, it was one great experience, I would say, all in all, because it was just a new concept and how it kind of put together. I didn't know more or less if I was like being a actor in the contrast of if I was doing it right or I had to
Yeah.
kind of do it in a way that was my own sort of person. So like I think that
Right.
was why I was able to act it out a little good in that
Yeah.
reality. But the
Yeah.
whole experience, I mean, wise, I think it was a pretty dope experience, man. Like working with you, it wasn't one of these. It was very organic. It wasn't one of those things where I felt like it was like a fake sort of emulation.
Yeah.
I think every time we did it together, it was more of a sense of we just clicked we made it click, like made it
Right.
work how we needed it to work. So I feel like that was how the experience went for me. It wasn't too bad. I liked it to work with the independent artist who was involved with it and other
Yeah.
different people involved, and it was really great to get to know those people, and some of them are still on my Facebook page to this day. So like
Yeah.
it's pretty good to still tap in with them and know them and stuff like that. So yeah, man, I think it was great experience. And shoot, man, hopefully with the YMDR thing, we can always have some other experiences that come in the midst of it. Maybe if I'm
Yeah.
making some new, stuff on my end or stuff on your end, it'd be pretty dope. So yeah,
Yeah, we could definitely collaborate and stuff like that, and vice versa, to help each other out, but get back in the groove of filming and stuff. Like that's what I'm very
yeah,
passionate about, and I think you're really great at that. Like, so us definitely our companies collaborate and work
yeah,
on some projects and stuff like that. So that's what I'm saying. Anytime you need help or need something like that, just definitely let me know. Like, what your favorite shows currently or things you're watching at the moment, like cartoon wise? Are you a big cartoon guy since you're working on animations? What's your favorite type of animes or cartoon animations?
Yeah, so like I would say the styles of certain cartoons, like, side note, because I'm from the 90s, I do
Yeah,
know a pretty I don't know I do know a pretty spans of the ones that were there, from Little Bill to
right.
freaking what is it, Rugrats, to
Yeah,
freaking, I remember all those animes like a T. So, but
yeah,
yeah, I mean, as far as the styles go, like, I mean, I've checked into some, other new ones that they've had. A lot of the ones that they are, that are a little modernized, I
yeah,
remember some from like Fox 59, Ninja Turtles, and stuff
yeah,
like that, to like the to probably like the ones like the Rick and Morty, like the more
yeah,
kind of modern ones. But
yeah,
I would say, I my style of cartoon animation, because mine is like 2D. I
yeah.
think that's the kind I might be in the midst of going towards, because
Okay.
I remember hearing this from an artist. Her name was Raven. She's a
Yeah.
TikTok person too, as well, and she animates as well. That girl got more animation skills than I have ever seen in my life. She don't work
Wow.
with nobody in particular. She's
Yeah.
independently,
That's dope.
stranded. But yeah, she, her doing those sort of things, like, it definitely is one of them things where, like, it's she said 2D is better because she had to
Yeah.
work with 3D. You feel me? And
Yeah.
3D, the 3D world for her, those were more kind of too, they were just too
Too
kind of like
stressful.
difficult how to kind
Yeah.
of expand them in a lot. And so she just said, hey, you be better luck doing 2D. And so I remember when she used to, if I checked out her lives and stuff, she would always be making cartoon animation in 2D. But she was more
Yeah.
happier, I feel like, from doing it in
Right.
2D. So
Right.
yeah, um, most definitely, I think that's the type of style I'm going for. But YMDR cartoons, that's just the thing about YMDR animation. My cartoons are definitely not like most cartoons that we are watching, because they have a very informative message inside
Okay.
of them. And they also can, they can have, I made some for just like funny reasons. There's an
Right.
actual character called Z Snoop, who is like he looks exactly, you would have thought he was the brother of freaking like Snoopy, but he
Oh,
looks
okay.
similar. He looks similar to him. The only difference is he got a hat on. He's not.
Yeah.
He got like a cross. He's not. He doesn't have just a side. That eye that closes thing. He has like a
Yeah.
side eye with like a exclamation point, like he's angry a little bit. So
Right.
he has a very different personification. But at the same time, like, yeah, like my characters, I feel like I've made them in ways to kind of like have similarities to the characters we have known to love and cherish,
Right.
but just they have a lot of different concepts to them. And then I have my own characters too, because
Right.
C-Tunes and Evidence of the Stray are two cartoon characters that are just the ones I've made. Those are cartoon animations I've just made in general. So I've
Okay.
had those kind of like in the grip. Haven't been able to animate them because I didn't have the animation software. Didn't know where to start to kind of get the software to do it. But then I realized what software I could get, like Affinity Designer, and then I went to Moho Animate, and I was like, okay, like I can use those to animate these, and they'll be in 2D, but they'll
Right.
definitely be entirely different from the cartoon world today, because there's a lot of other things that are entailed with cartoons today. And I just
Yeah.
think like mine will definitely give you something to think about. So,
Right. That's
yeah.
really good.
Mhm.
So, what are your future goals from 20? So this year, what's your goals, and furthermore, like what you plan on to accomplish this year, and for the future you would like to do?
Yeah, so what I'm going to try to do this year, and this is just, this is what I wrote down, obviously, on a board that I have in here somewhere. But what I'm going to try to do is ultimately, so I started off a little bit of the new year, kind of like, writing down what I was going to do. So I said, boom, I'm going to get some more stuff to facilitate my brand, because I needed like a little more different things to do that. And I had
Yeah.
gotten a I had gotten a donation from my grandmother because my grandmother and my father who gave me a donation to help me get some equipment or certain things for my brand.
That's
My
that's
grandmother
dope.
ultimately said, I think you really got something here, and I think I just want to be able to support it. And so she just gave me the money to be able to get that sort of stuff for it. Supposedly, it might be more handed, more might be coming from that, but I'm not.
Okay.
I just let her be. I just let it be what it was that she gave me, and I'm just utilizing it. So I just got like more. I got some signs. I got some other different
Yeah.
things. So like I guess what's just coming this year is just trying to kind of facilitate some directory, some website development, and some
Okay.
other different things. And so I've looked into a lot of different stuff that I can do entirely as far as it goes, that like connecting like your a splice account that you make to your website. So
Yeah.
I have like looked up some videos, tutorials on how to do that sort of stuff, kind of on YouTube. I'm just going over it to kind of piece it together so I know what I'm doing on that end. So yeah, I'm just doing a little bit of that, and I know once I know we're gonna try to get the website out. That's one thing we're
Hmm.
gonna try to do this year: get the website out, and we're gonna try to take some critical pushes on the content, because what I learned from some digital marketing stuff was pretty cool, and it was just a short period of time that I learned it, because these particular people, shout outs to I think her name is I think their name in general, the business is called SMG, something
Hmm.
like that. But yes, they were the ones who kind of gave me kind of a kickstart in how to understand the digital marketing world to an extent.
Hmm.
So I just went in. I had paid $20 to kind of learn some stuff for it, and when I learned some stuff for her, she gave me a lot of this different information. I went and utilized it, and she gave me some other information about how you plug videos and how you show people videos. And I thought it was going to be like super complexly hard, but
Right.
then she explained it. They all explained it in this way of just like what is it, consistency, and
Hmm.
just the
Yeah.
idea of how you're editing videos, of what you're trying to represent in the videos,
Right.
and how you're trying to pitch it each time inside of the video in general. And so when she explained it to me and kind of put it all together, and I was looking at the videos on how to do it, what she explained was something that seemed pretty self-explanatory to every person if they were wanting to do that with their own business. So
Yeah.
I mean, predominantly this year, I'm going to try to just be pushing out as much content as I can in the midst of that. So it's like content, website, and we're going to try to see if we can fit a little bit of the music stuff in there. And we're also going to try to see if we can pitch a little bit of some driving stuff in there, because I want to at least learn how to drive so that I can kind
Yeah.
of,
Okay.
before I'm 31, I want to be at least
Yeah.
before 31 being able to drive, in that reality. So, yeah, those are just some things that we're going to try to push into 2024. And 2025, I won't say that I know exactly what we will be doing, but I know if everything is going how it does, my actual concept on what I wanted to become
Hmm.
will come into correlation. So that's why I never just say, well, I guess in 2025, this is what it'll
Yeah.
be. Like, I don't just plan it in that contrast. I have to wait
Right.
until I feel like it's gonna, if I feel like it lines in with what I'm doing this year, then it should definitely come in 2025. So we'll just see how it goes. But I know that it's gonna definitely be something that's going pretty great, because I think from that whole just learning of the digital marketing and then reading the books, I got a whole bunch of books over here on taxes and all types of stuff.
Yeah.
So I got to.
Well,
I'm just studying on all that. So yeah.
yeah. Speaking of books, you gotta pick up this Black Economics. Hold on, you
Okay.
can.
Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah, I
got
was reading.
Rich Dad Poor Dad over there.
I
Yep.
read that. Actually, my
Yeah. Yeah.
mentor, Romeo Gearson, gave me the CD. I would listen to Rich Dad Poor Dad. They got that on YouTube. You can
Okay.
actually audio read. I love that book, Rich Dad Poor
Yeah.
Dad, and I read a lot of entrepreneurs. So you on the right page. as an
Yeah.
advice to you, like since you're
Hmm.
working on animation, like right now we got seven
Yeah.
cities going to conventions, selling our merchandise of film and things
Yeah.
like that. You could, even if you don't have your animation ready, if you got the characters, you got posters,
Yeah.
merchandise, different art styles, go to
Yeah.
conventions, go to these cons that I go to, nerd cons, because you into that stuff too. Get you a
Yeah. For sure.
table, check it out, like do a couple of local city cons, and they don't pay, they don't charge that much for a table. Get you a
Yeah.
table, have your merchandise, see how well you do,
Yeah.
and then you can see like, oh, people are liking these characters. This could be so, because people might ask you like, well, who are these characters? Because they love original content. Hey,
Yeah.
who are these characters? And then you can use that money from your merchandise, the profit, to put
Yeah.
more into your animation, as to get actors to play in it or
Yeah.
get better animation equipment. But go to
Yeah.
cons once you got your character drawn. Get some posters, get some keychains, get some bookmarkers. Just all things I'm currently doing with my team.
Yeah.
We going out to Midwest areas, and Atlanta, and what else? We're going to Columbus, Kentucky, and here in Indy and stuff like that, just to see
Yeah.
how well we do. And
Yeah.
then 2025, we're hitting up 33 conventions or plus. So
Yeah.
that's an avenue for you too, just to build your brand, get the money you need, more supporters, get it out there to audience. Because, like I said, don't always count on social media. Count on
Yeah.
getting in front of people. And those conventions that gets released about 5,000 to 20 plus thousand of people at these conventions. Those are a good
Yeah.
way to market you and YMBR, your company, your
Yeah.
team.
Yeah.
Like, bro, you get into that, man. I'm telling you,
Yeah,
it could
most
help.
definitely. And I do have some like table equipment to set up like a booth if
Hmm.
I needed to. So I mean,
Yeah,
I got all that stuff now. Like I've been investing in that too. So I mean, I'm ultimately, gonna be pushing that too as well, man. Like getting it out there the best way I know how. I'm just because I'm an artist and I'm doing a business too. That's
yeah,
why it's like I have to really facilitate both. You feel me at
yeah,
the same time. So I'm doing the business stuff too, but then I might, that's why my artist stuff isn't on like certain social platforms. But I'm
yeah,
correlating it this year that yes, we're gonna try. If I can, I'm gonna try to make it to put it into the business stuff too. Get it out here in those sort of ways, and just use other avenues than just the social
yeah,
media ones. Because I am very glad how you can do it from a aspect of people will buy your stuff if you go to
yeah,
particular TikToks on there because there are people
yeah,
who really like organic, stuff from
yeah,
that reality too. But yeah, like I know what you're saying on that end too as well is that I will try to dig into that sort of stuff. And I mean most of the time, man, like hey, if I need a if anybody really needs to really hit me up about that sort of stuff, like it can always just let me know, in the midst of it, because that's really, because I'm so, in tune with me just doing my business stuff. Like
right,
it don't, I'm not always able to reach out and be like, bam, like I'm gonna go to this or go to that. And sometimes I am,
right,
but it's like it
yeah,
just depends on the particular day. So yeah,
right,
man.
right,
But
right.
most definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, man. We almost about to get off of here. Please let people know how can they reach you, contact you, and things like that, and shout people out if you want to. It's your time.
Yeah, most definitely. So I just want to if y'all want to tap in with the brand is, y'all can reach me through, the Facebook, which is YMDR, Yo Music Dedicated Records. If y'all want to tap into, our Instagram's YMDR, Yo Music Dedicated. And then if y'all want to tap into like our TikTok, YouTube, the YouTube is about the same as the Facebook. So it's just YMDR, Yo Music Dedicated Records. And then if you go to the TikTok is just YMDR Con 317. So yeah, that's our way to contact us if you need like if you need like special orders, I guess like if you want to do like logos or other different stuff, you can just hit my Facebook on that one or my IG, and I'll respond to one of those. And just yeah, shouting out to people who tapping in with the situation. I shout out to, um, just the new experiences, the new people that I've tapped in with. I want to give the shout out that to the brother who put me on to this, Darrell. I want to shout out
Yeah,
him on that, because I appreciate you for letting that be something that we tap into. Because hey, I definitely, because I be over here working and stuff like that. I'm
yeah,
so much in the spectrum of it. I don't usually know if people really tap in to know that I'm
yeah,
there, like doing it. So it's
yeah,
always love to know, in those realities. So yeah, I shout you out on that. I shout outs to Warren, him doing his thing with his clothing brand and other different people involved with what he's doing, and some other different dope artists, artiste. The one that I interviewed at another particular place, so I shout him out, and just all the other people who are willing to tap in with me. I appreciate all of y'all, and y'all just keep at it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a lovely thing. We
yeah.
got to keep going at it and just getting it in, man. So yeah,
Exactly, man. Well, it's an
yeah,
honor, a privilege, and to have you on here. Thank you, my brother, for wanting to hop on, this interview, this project, a new journey of me for this content. But man, we're gonna be working again, hopefully soon, sooner than later, and just keep doing what you're doing. I'm proud of you, and keep going, man.
yeah, man, for sure. And I thank you so much for hitting me up about it. You feel me? It's a dope situation, and bro, you always know. Even and this is, I'm only saying this because this
Yeah.
is for the people who may not notice it in the Mississippi. Your existence is valued, Darrell, for
Thank
tapping in with the situation. You feel me? We
you.
saying that. We don't care what nobody say this year. We
Right,
about to keep it
right,
real and say what we
right.
need to say.
Right,
You feel me?
right. I
Because they
appreciate it,
wilding in
man.
these streets.
Yeah,
So
yeah. But no,
yeah.
it's an honor, bro. You are such a blessing and always been loyal and helping me out. And I just want to always return the favor whenever I can. But keep doing your thing and everybody have a good one. We out.
For sure, y'all. Later.